TEAM3, this is a simple, very casual game, very informal. It is basically a party game because you can play when you're too tired to play stuff that is more complicated. There will be laughter on the table because of the silliness of the situations, and it is also very flexible, so you can play it in different ways. It always requires at least 3 players, so it can be played cooperatively by simply 3 players that are trying to score better than they did before, to complete certain tasks before it's too late, or you can also play it in teams of 3, one against the other, to see who does better. The idea is you will take on the role of these monkeys, each of which can do something but not something else, and you will work cooperatively within your team to build a certain diagram, to build a configuration using these plastic pieces here. They're nice, these are nice sturdy plastic pieces. It's like a Tetris come alive. They're just fun to move around and to do stuff with. Then you have a set of cards, a deck of cards with different diagrams, with different configurations, and they all have a black line here at the bottom to indicate which is the bottom and which is the top of the illustration. So the game works like this. You draw one of these cards and there's a little plastic pedestal that you put it on. And one member will look at it, and that's the only member of the team that can look at it. That member of the team cannot talk, can only use gesture to indicate which piece must be placed next and where. So maybe I'm trying to indicate this game piece here and I start walking like an Egyptian, or using other ways of doing it. And I'm also trying to tell you the orientation and where it goes. Tell you, well, yes and no, the next person in the line. So the first person looks at it and using only body language has to direct the operations. Then there's a person that is looking at the first person, and the person can talk. That's the only person that can talk in this thing, and the person is describing, so here's the green piece, the piece that looks like an Egyptian, or an S, or the cross, or the T. So the second person is describing what he or she's seeing to the third person, who keeps their eyes closed, that's the monkey that cannot see, and moving around, moving their hands around, picking up the pieces, is trying to actually build this. So this is the team of 3 people. One uses only gestures and can look at this one. The person that can see what the person does will describe it to the person who cannot see, that then is in charge of actually building the thing. And it seems impossible and it's not easy, but it is doable, and so that is interesting. It is doable if you're playing with adults. The simplicity of the rules may make you think that this is a game that may work for kids. Maybe yours, and maybe if your child is a reincarnation of Mahatma Gandhi, because I tried with my kids and we had some really negative feelings going on. It's challenging, too challenging for kids, and my kids are 7 and 9. They both got frustrated and they stopped playing. Then I played it game night with adults after everybody was tired from playing some fairly hardcore Euro games, and that was a good success. I wouldn't say a super success, but people had a good time. People weren't complaining. Why did you come up with this idea? People had a good time. We laughed. We had a couple of good laughters. Then we put it away and we were rejuvenated, and we played actually something else a little more challenging. It's a filler, it's a party game, it's not a game, I believe, that has any great ambitions of skyrocketing to the top of the Board Game Geek rankings, but then not every game can do so. For a simple filler, for when you're exhausted, when you want to challenge your friends, that's something that is interesting. You don't have to play it to enjoy it. As long as somebody else is playing it, it can just be entertaining, watching them, taking pictures. Sometimes people will look like they're casting spells, and I really like that. TEAM3, it's a simple filler, dexterity, cooperative. There may be some lesson to be learned about cooperation, team spirit building, if you're using it to train your employees. But to me, in my group, it is a simple, silly game that we may play in the future when we're too tired to play something else. It can be a nice diversion. It can be a nice way to fill 10-15 minutes of time between games and game night. No more than that, I guess, because then really we'll probably overstay its welcome. But for what it is, a simple, silly filler, it's not bad.